I just feel really grateful that she shared so much of herself with me, and I wish there'd been more time.
Leah and I started dating as sophomores in high school, and have been together since then. The idea of opening a bookstore or a bed and breakfast or something like that has always been kind of something that we had dreamed about and thought, like, maybe we could do that when we retire. When the pandemic happened, Leah and I were at home with our 2 kids, and our jobs were just like totally different than they were when we started them. We kind of started to realize that there's really no guarantees in life. So much is out of your control. So this was something that we kind of felt like, well, this is something that we can control and something we can try. At the time that we were planning the store, we were both, young and healthy, and thought, there's a long future ahead of us if the store doesn't work out. We opened in late September, early October of 2021.
I worked a lot with Leah towards the very, very beginning, and then worked with her pretty closely after that. I always thought of Leah as my cool big sister. She always felt like somebody that you could just be really honest with, and she always just is so thoughtful in the way she would talk to people and get to know people, and she always just inspired me to be a more open and thoughtful person.
It was February, it was a weekday. We were here in the store. It was me, Haley, and Leah working. And Leah was in the office, had been kind of feeling funny all day, and then had a seizure. And it was pretty severe and pretty scary. We called the ambulance, got her to the hospital. They did some scans, found a lesion, but weren't sure what it was. So we met with the surgeon the next week. We didn't find out until after the surgery, and they did the biopsy that it was a pretty severe, pretty advanced form of cancer, pretty aggressive. The news when we got it was that, it could be a year or 2. And that was in March of 2022. She had a year and a half or a year maybe of health that seemed fairly steady. And then the cancer came back last summer, and they treated it again with radiation, but it just kind of kept growing from there. When she was on hospice, we kind of knew that it wasn't going to be long. And so folks had a chance to come by. Family came into the town and supported us. The staff here at Pearls visited us at home and at the hospice facility, also on top of making sure the store was up and running. We're not always able to have those final moments. I count myself very lucky, and my family very lucky that we did get to talk to her and tell her how much her life has meant to everyone. Immediately after, we started getting phone calls and letters and cards and from folks that have that we've only known as customers and as regulars.
She mattered to so many of us, and I think part of Leah's legacy is just to care deeply and to make choices that impact the world around you, even if it's scary, because I think it makes a difference. It makes more of a difference than you'd know.